Guys, Craig Moeller with you here with an update on this incredibly hot day, a weather alert day that we've designated here at 13 News Now to keep folks updated on what's going on. Now, so far, heat has been the big story. We knew it would be. We said from 11 o'clock to about 8 o'clock tonight, heat was going to be the issue. But there's another issue that will likely develop. We have later this afternoon and into the evening chances for strong to severe storms. And I'll update you on that as well. And then I'm going to have an update that I will add in addition as we go along here with this live coverage. It's live update at 12:35 or 12:40 this afternoon. I want to update you on the tropics because we have Hurricane Beryl now, a major hurricane. That was the case earlier this morning, but it has really rapidly intensified. Beryl is now a Category 4 hurricane. So I'm going to talk about that, where it's headed, who needs to be very concerned with that storm's track. That'll be coming up. Let's start with this afternoon and all of the heat across the area. I'm telling you, it is so hot and so humid, it will slow you down. We have a couple of feeds up right now on our digital platforms. And when you factor in the humidity with the current temperatures, the dew points are in the upper 70s to near 80 for some spots. Some of the feels like temperatures are well above 108. I'm looking at a feed right now that we also have out there streaming on one of our digital platforms, talking about feels like temperatures right now that are ranging anywhere from 110 to 120. It feels like 120 in Hertford, 101 in Nags Head. I can see these numbers kind of flipping through as we go along. I've seen some incredibly high heat index values in Portsmouth, Norfolk right now, currently at the airport, feeling like 107. So this 102 to 108, just a broad range. That includes areas even closer to the water. Suffolk right now feeling like 107. Currently, the air temperature is 93 in Suffolk. So this heat is no joke. Elizabeth City feeling like 106. With feels like temperatures in this range and even warmer in some cases, you have to be concerned with the risk of heat-related illnesses. This is nothing to play with. You have to stay hydrated, okay? You have to take breaks from the heat as you are able. If you are in a situation where you don't have access to air conditioning, you need to find some air conditioning if at all possible. You may not have good working AC in your home right now, but if you can get to a store or a public area that's got some AC, I really recommend that you find some of that through the peak heating of the afternoon. You need a good fan. When it gets as hot and humid as it is right now, shade and a fan sometimes doesn't even do it. So you do need to find some air condition. Check on your elderly neighbors. If you've got some folks maybe living in your neighborhood that don't get out a lot, you might want to just go check on them, make sure they've got some way to stay cool and take them some cool water or something. Very important we stay hydrated. And then we also have to focus on the chances for storms this afternoon. Now, the weather alert day, the heat portion of it, we've had concerns since 11 o'clock. We've been dealing with triple-digit heat indices, and that's going to continue through the afternoon, even into the early evening. With storms developing later today, that may knock down the temperatures considerably, actually, with those storms coming through. So there may be a little bit of relief from time to time. But in general, this 11 o'clock to 8 p.m. window is where we're going to have the most danger, and I do have real concern there. So we do need to practice heat safety, not just for ourselves individually, but think about community heat safety as well. And remember, cars, incredibly hot. You can't leave anything sensitive at all inside cars. I'm talking about items that you might sometimes leave in your car. You probably want to bring those in as well, as the car is just going to magnify these hot temperatures. All right, the other thing that we're really concerned with, the potential for severe weather. Now, this is something also that we've identified and talked about. We've got a level 2 threat for severe storms this afternoon and evening. Timing on this, 4 p.m. to about midnight, I'd say late afternoon to evening. So far, so good, but as we go past 2:30, I think showers and storms may start to develop. The strongest storms most likely late afternoon and into the evening. You'll need to find ways to stay aware of what's going on and to get alerts. Best way to do it if you're on the go is through your mobile device. So if you've got a tablet or a phone, you want to download the 13 News Now app. We will, of course, keep you updated. Live updates like this, we'll give them to you. We push them out. We let folks know what's going on. So even if you do have a storm that rolls through your area, maybe you lose power at your house, if you've got a good working cell phone that's charged up and you have our 13 News Now app, you'll be able to get these updates and alerts. We've got a heat advisory in place. You can see this runs from 11 o'clock this morning. It started at 11 and it runs until 6 p.m. There will be some hot spots even lingering through 7 or 8, as I mentioned. But you can see this includes just about the entire area. The Eastern Shore, technically not under the advisory, but I'd say even up on the Eastern Shore and the Northern Neck, very, very hot. And as I mentioned, a few areas even warmer than that 108. All right, our sky view, our priority automotive sky view over Norfolk, showing a few cumulus clouds, but really not too threatening. You step outside, you feel the heat, but you look outside and you're going, hey, it looks like a pretty good day so far. At the airport, we're at 94 degrees. The dew point is 76, so the heat index value right now at Norfolk International, it's feeling like it's about 107. The air temperatures are generally in the low to mid 90s. We were calling for a high today around 94, 95 degrees or so officially. So we're right on target for that. The temperature's not going to warm much more from where we are right now. But it's these dew points. Look at this. It is currently the dew point temperature at Roanoke Rapids is 81. It's 82 in Edenton. This is very, very humid. In fact, tropical air that we have across the area right now. The dew point at Oceana, 79. You get dew points into the upper 70s, and this is what takes that physical toll on you, and it forces you to slow down. You really have to listen to your body. I'm not trying to be preachy here. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but when you factor in the humidity with the air temperatures, this is what it's feeling like right now. Edenton feels like 116. Roanoke Rapids, 111. 107 in Virginia Beach, 107 in Suffolk, 107 in Wakefield and Norfolk, 104 in Hampton, and 103 in Newport News. Here it is. It's 1244. It's probably going to get a little hotter over the next couple of hours before those storms start to develop and bring us a little bit of relief. So again, nothing to play with here. Those heat index values expected officially around 108 for Norfolk. Some areas a little bit hotter. Remember, we are under a heat advisory. Take a look at the forecast. We've got the mix of clouds and sunshine for the next, say, hour and a half, 2 hours. We'll see increasing clouds after that. Cooler temperatures eventually because showers and storms will drop the temps. So we'll get some relief late afternoon where we have the showers and storms. We're going to need those to help cool us down. And we've been really dry as well, but the potential is there for strong to severe storms, and I'm going to talk more about that as we go. Take a look at the humidity and the dew points. This is day by day. You get dew points into the 70s like we have today, mid 70s, even upper 70s for some spots. It's excessive. It'll be humid, but not nearly as bad tomorrow. Tuesday, borderline comfortable, really. Wednesday looks great as well. As we get into Thursday, the 4th of July, Friday and Saturday, we jump back up with more excessive humidity. Now, our severe weather potential on, through the afternoon and on into the evening, you can see we are under a level 2 threat for severe weather. This means scattered severe storms are going to be possible. Primary threat's going to be very strong and gusting winds, damaging winds potentially. Maybe some hail, but this is such a warm air mass. I'd imagine the freezing level is pretty high with a lot of these storms. So I don't know. We'll see if there's any potential for hail, but a lot of deep convection. We've got a front coming through, maybe a little bit of rotation with some of the cells later on. I can't rule it out. We'll continue to watch for that. But I think the primary threat is going to be the gusty winds, maybe a little bit wind shear with that front coming through. A watch has been issued to the north. You can see right now up across New York, New York City, Long Island, the Big Apple under a severe thunderstorm watch that extends down through New Jersey. Now, we're currently not under a watch, but the likelihood of storms will increase this afternoon, and there's a very good chance we will. If that happens, Chief Meteorologist Tim Pandagis will join Hunter Force. Hunter will be here watching everything, but whenever we have severe weather across the area, we like to have team coverage and multiple meteorologists here to help provide information online and on air. So if things do take a turn for the worse, and there is a pretty good chance that we could see some of these more intense storms later this afternoon. Tim Pandagis will be here with Hunter, and you'll want to be sure and check out their updates. Right now, some scattered showers down around Raleigh. Again, we are dry across the immediate metro area. No precipitation up through the eastern shore. We're in pretty good shape. It's very, very hot, though, and so humid, and you got to believe eventually as we go late afternoon and into the evening, you see how these storms start to pop up. Now, there's a frontal boundary still off to the northwest. That's eventually going to push in as we get into the evening hours. You see the heavy downpours. There's a marginal risk, level 1 threat for excessive rainfall and flooding across the entire area. So don't be surprised if we have some issues where we get very, very heavy rain with the dew points in the 70s. There is so much juice in the atmosphere that these storms have to work with. If they start to fire up, we could see some incredibly heavy downpours, some flash flooding, or certainly some runoff issues in some areas. So don't be surprised if we see advisories going up later on where we do get heavier downpours. You'll notice that through the morning they do wind down, maybe some lingering showers around sunrise down to the south. This is one of the models, the graph. I want to update you now showing you the HER model. This is the high resolution rapid refresh model. Again, through 2:45, just some scattered showers, but watch how the storms erupt as we go late afternoon and into the evening. The HER identifies northeast North Carolina, parts of the south side, Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, chances for strong storms this afternoon. Additional isolated strong to severe storms out towards I-95, kind of filling in as we go through 6:37, 8 o'clock. Again, if this comes to fruition, Tim and Hunter will be very busy tracking these powerful storms as they come through. You'll notice, though, the temperature's getting knocked back significantly from the heavy downpours. If we do get these storms, that's going to help turn over the atmosphere a little bit, and it will cool us, which would be a real blessing after dealing with this sweltering heat. Powerful storms into the evening, and through 10 o'clock, we could see heavy storms down across northeast North Carolina, parts of the south side. Eventually, after midnight, should just be showers and maybe a few stray storms towards sunrise tomorrow. Still some lingering showers early, but that stuff should move out during the morning. Skies are going to clear out. So I'm fully prepared to come back in for daybreak tomorrow, starting 4:30 in the morning, and I will have more coverage on leftover showers. That's fine. That's fine. I'll cover those. But the good news about tomorrow is that it's going to be noticeably cooler through the afternoon. We're talking upper 70s to low 80s. It's going to feel a lot better. Winds coming in from the north and the northeast. Lower humidity. It's going to feel great on our Monday once these storms are through. But we got to get through this afternoon. So again, temperatures mid-90s today. We've got the weather alert day for heat and humidity, a dangerous combination. Heat index values right now are up around 107, 108. It's going to get even hotter for some spots this afternoon before the showers and storms develop. We have the risk of severe storms this afternoon and this evening. We're going to be watching for that, and that could be its own set of issues. So you do want to stay weather aware, and again, stay connected to 13 News Now. Can't stress it enough. As we take a look down across North Carolina, mid-90s, we'll be in the upper 80s to near 90 at the Outer Banks. Things looking a little bit more stable early on for the Outer Banks, but don't be surprised if you see some storms down that way as well. Overnight lows tonight down around 70. Evening storms again, stray showers and storms still possible overnight, but the best chances for storms through the evening hours. Tomorrow morning, I'll be tracking some showers early, but they should move out early mid-morning, and then we'll see clearing later in the day and cooler conditions. I'm going to be out at the Great American Picnic. This is Thursday evening, so beautiful weather Tuesday, beautiful on Wednesday. Then by Thursday, it gets hot, 94 the high on Thursday. During the evening, we're going to be in the upper 80s, maybe mid-80s as the fireworks are going off around 9 or 9:15. I'll be counting down out there at Town Point Park. It is a fantastic family event. The fireworks shows are amazing. Great food, great live music out there. They've got bands playing patriotic music. It is a lot of fun, and I'd love to see you out there for the Great American Picnic at Town Point Park Thursday evening. Friday, it's going to be hot as well. Isolated storms potentially Friday into Saturday. So now you know about our local weather. If you are interested in the tropics, I want to talk to you about this. I promised you a look at our tropical situation, and man, do we have a lot going on in the tropics. So here we go. This is a tropical update, and I just did one of these out on social media, and I've got this out on our digital outlets, but I want to fill you in right now. If you're with us live and you're interested in the tropics, wait till you see what's going on down approaching the Caribbean. Beryl, Hurricane Beryl yesterday developed. It went from a Category 2 to a Category 3 storm this morning, now up to a Cat 4. This thing is rapidly intensifying. As we take a look, again, Alberto and Beryl, these are the only two named systems so far. Chris and Debbie could form in the next couple of days, and I'll show you why here in just a moment. But you look at Beryl, think about this. First hurricane of the season, and it turns into a major hurricane. Here we are, end of June. Major Hurricane Beryl, Category 4. That tells you, again, it speaks to just how volatile the environment is out there. We talked about record sea surface temperatures. The sea surface temperatures right now across the main development region are more like those we would expect to find in August. So you think about August into September, that's the peak of the hurricane season. We expect to see storms like this form over in the Cape Verde Islands and then move across the Atlantic. I want to take a look at this. If I can come back out on camera, let me show you what I'm looking at with Beryl. First of all, this eye is fantastic, okay? And again, I don't want you to think like I'm delighted to see a hurricane. I understand the risk that this poses to the islands there, the Windward Islands, what this could mean to folks living in the Caribbean and along the Yucatan Peninsula. We'll get into all of that. But just from a pure meteorological, organization of this storm, this is just a classic major hurricane. I'm going to stop the loop here and talk to you about this. You take a look right now, okay, and you've got the eye, and the eye is about 17 miles in diameter, okay? So you've got a big, healthy eye, very clear on the satellite images here. We have symmetry with the convection. I mean, you've got storms, not just one side. Sometimes you get drier air coming into these things and they don't look healthy. They look like they might fall apart. Not Beryl. Beryl has beautiful symmetry all the way around it. This is how we know this is a very powerful storm, and it may even be getting a bit stronger here. So we're looking at that. I can tell you as we look at some of the high cirrus clouds, they're venting out in a clockwise direction. So you've got the low-level violent winds close to the center of this, and then you've got some venting. This storm is so healthy. Now, it's a small storm, so I'm going to clear off that 17-mile kind of just a quick gauge of rough approximation of how wide that eye is. Tell you from the center of this thing going out, maximum hurricane winds out about 25 miles from the center, okay? So this is where the hurricane force winds are. You see this storm, it only goes out about that far, all right? It's a small storm. We, a lot of times, will have much larger hurricanes that aren't this powerful. This is a very intense but small hurricane as far as coverage. In fact, the tropical storm force winds only go out from the center about 100 nautical miles. So that's it, just out about that distance or so out from the center of this, okay? And remember, this thing's moving along to the west. So this is the most violent part, that right front quadrant, as it's moving along, pushing water towards the island. So while this thing is a classic in its shape and form, as we take a look at it from the satellite images, very powerful, it is fairly small in its actual size. That's what's going on with Beryl. Now, as we take a look at this thing and where it's headed, here are the Windward Islands, okay? And you've got these islands. They are waiting to see what's going to happen. Barbados, St. Lucia, some of these islands here under hurricane warning, as you would imagine. It is moving along. There's another area that the Hurricane Center is investigating. We're going to continue to watch this. This has a good chance of developing on the heels of Beryl and following almost an identical path. And I'm going to show you that with the wave projections coming up. Let's take a look at the forecast track for Beryl. Again, 130 miles per hour, maximum sustained winds, winds gusting up to 150. They originally, with the 11 o'clock update, they were going to go with a Cat 3. They got reconnaissance information, and they found winds of 130 miles per hour, gusting higher than that. They said, nope, this is now a Category 4 hurricane. We suspected it would be before interacting with those islands, but it's already a Cat 4, likely to be a Cat 4 as it enters the eastern Caribbean. Here's Jamaica. It looks like the center maybe just south of Jamaica, but Jamaica's still going to be on the dirty side of this storm. So we're going to watch this. I will say the track shifted maybe just a little bit south of where it was previously. It then continues towards the Yucatan. So folks there in the Yucatan, think about Cancun, some of the other areas will be wanting to watch this and the developments very, very closely. Now, it looks like it's going to pass down around Jamaica or just south of Jamaica. As we get into Wednesday, it could potentially reach the Yucatan sometime maybe Friday of next week. So we've got time to watch this as it moves through, but this is what's going on. Now, I want to show you some of the islands. I mentioned Barbados, St. Lucia, under warnings. These islands also going under warnings as this system moves through. So it's already a bad situation. It's going to get a lot worse overnight and tomorrow, so we're going to be watching for that. The spaghetti plot shows this system moving along. Models very much in agreement. They do split a little bit once you get out towards Friday. Some carry it across the Yucatan and bring it in to the southern Gulf of Mexico and kind of bend it north towards the Texas coast. We'll see. This cluster here kind of bends it to the north a little earlier and takes it up towards Louisiana. There's a lot of question as to where this thing's going to go beyond the western part of the Caribbean. So you'll definitely want to stay tuned, and we'll keep you updated on that. Now, I mentioned there's another area. This one here could become Chris or Debbie, depending on how it develops. There's a 70% chance of development here. And I wanted to show you a little different look. This is the wave forecast. And I'm showing you this really to give you a sense for how this next system should move along relative to Beryl. Here's Beryl as identified in the wave forecast. And some of the waves with Beryl, just by looking at these colors, you get into orange and red, what we're seeing here. You're talking 35 to 40-foot seas. I mean, just violent with those powerful winds of 130 miles per hour, whipping the waves. That's why you get those ginormous waves out there. So that's going to move on through, I mentioned Barbados, St. Lucia, some of the islands bracing for some heavy impacts from this powerful Category 4 hurricane. This one moves along. Then we start watching that next potential developing system. And you can see as we get into Wednesday and Beryl maybe passes somewhere around, say, Jamaica or just a little south, that's about the time that next one could develop and come back in around St. Lucia or Barbados. Some of the smaller islands here in the Lesser Antilles, down around the Windward Islands, they're going to be dealing with that next system. So if it does develop right after Beryl comes through, they basically catch their breath for a day or two, a couple of days, and then they have to watch out for this next one on the heels. We'll see what happens, but you see how that next one is forecast to strengthen again in the Caribbean. So it looks like that one could also come towards Jamaica or maybe up towards Haiti, Cuba. It may take a little bit farther north of the track, but I just want to show you what's going on out there with these systems. Very, very intense activity and a lot of it. This other area only has a 50% chance of development in the southern part of the Gulf of Mexico, the Bay of Campeche. This was the area that was in the Western Caribbean, kind of drifted across the Yucatan and is now back in the southern Gulf. So this may not have enough time to really do much. It might become a tropical depression. It may become a tropical storm. Certainly a possibility. There's 50% chance of development, but it's not going to have a lot of time over the water to get organized. So most likely it's going to be a heavy rainmaker, whether it's classified a tropical depression or a tropical storm. Doesn't really matter. I mean, we'll see. It could have maybe a little more wind if it does get better organized. But the bottom line is this is going to be another huge rainmaker down along the Mexican coastline, and that's always a concern. You remember with Alberto, there was flash flooding and there were issues a little farther north along the Mexican coastline. So the Bay of Campeche has already been very, very active with the early part of this tropical hurricane season, and it looks like we're in for at least some more rain with this one, maybe another system, and then we've got to watch Beryl to see what that does by the end of next week. Just an incredible time right now in the tropics, and things continue to ramp up. Obviously, the big story, Beryl, that's what we're going to be watching and keeping a close eye to, keeping everybody updated on. Be sure and check back with 13 News Now. We will keep you updated on our weather alert day. Again, today dealing with heat, humidity, the potential for severe storms. And we always keep you updated on the tropics. We are your source for weather information in Hampton Roads. And when it comes to the tropics, for everybody that has interest in the tropics, we'll be having extensive coverage throughout the entire hurricane season. We want you to stay safe out there, stay informed, and stay weather aware, especially if you live here in the mid-Atlantic region with that chance for storms later today. I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller.